Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about the Boycott Japan movement that's happening in Korea at the moment. Generally, I like to stay away from political topics, but this is kind of a huge thing in Korea at the moment, and it's even affecting me, so I'm going to talk about it today. So for people who don't know about what's happening exactly, as far as I know, the government in Japan is like refusing to acknowledge what they've done to Korea in the past. And I understand like how Korean people feel about this, because it is a terrible thing that happened to Korea, especially the stuff that in relation to the comfort women that happened, and rejecting that as a reality is a horrible thing. But I think the way that Korea is reacting to it is just not a smart thing to be doing, I think. And like there are two sides to this as well. Like Japan is also reacting to this in a not very good way either, but I am not as much informed on their side. But from what I've heard from Japanese people, they're also saying very similar things too, that a lot of young Japanese people don't agree with the way that Japanese people are reacting to the situation. From this side, because I'm in Korea and I can see how people are reacting to it here, I just think people are honestly just reacting with their emotion, and they're not thinking rationally about this. They're not thinking about what they're actually doing, and I just think it's not creating it's not gonna have a positive outcome, honestly. So basically what people are doing is they're trying to boycott Japan by avoiding all Japanese products. All the convenience stores, they stopped selling Japanese snacks and Japanese beers and all that kind of stuff. And several Uniqlo stores have actually closed down. And I've heard stories of like some people who are really passionate about this topic, like actually like screaming or doing something towards like Japanese tourists in Korea. Like I actually haven't heard anyone like physically attacking anyone, which I'm so thankful for, but I've heard them like protesting against tourists who are just here traveling and enjoying. So that is horrible. And I've heard many restaurants, they put signs in front of their store saying no Japanese people, which is incredibly racist. And I've also seen that some people protested in front of like a Japanese restaurant, but the Japanese restaurant is run by Korean people. There are no Japanese people at all in there, so they're protesting their own people. That's also really horrible, because they're just like, it's their own business and they're just working. And I'm pretty sure the people, like the staff that were in there at the time, I'm pretty sure majority of them are just part-timers. They're probably like students who are just working part-time, and they're getting protested against by some older people. So these things in itself is incredibly racist, and it's not going to accomplish anything. I think like I understand what they're trying to do. I just don't think this is a good way to go about it. By not doing this, they're negatively affecting Korea more than they're affecting Japan. Like what I've heard in the past couple of weeks, the Korean won has gone down so much, and it has been decently strong for quite a while, for several years, and now it's gone down so much, and it's been only a few weeks of this boycott and the Korean won has gone down a lot. Not only is the economy getting worse from this boycott, it's giving Korea this image of being an incredibly racist country, and it is just not good to be around this. Like it's such a toxic mentality, honestly. But I think this boycott where they're trying to remove all these Japanese products, like if they remove Japanese products from a convenience store, it's not going to affect things too much. I've heard like other foreign people complaining about, you know, Japanese beer being gone because they liked that it was cheaper, and I think they liked it more than Korean beer. I don't drink beer, so I'm not really sure. Yeah, but when it comes to like Uniqlo being closed down, like I've heard a lot of Uniqlo stores have actually closed down already, and that is, you know, like a lot of people think that's a victory in Korea, but they're not considering that there's probably a whole ton of like staff working there, and all those staffs are now jobless, and it's because of this movement that's been happening for just a few weeks. Even in Korea right now, one of the biggest brands for like snacks and department stores and cinemas is Lotte. Lotte has Lotte department store, Lotte cinema, almost like a huge portion of like snacks and candies and stuff is all Lotte brand, and they're trying to avoid this brand also. But if they close down this entire department store, that's hundreds of jobs being lost, which is disgusting. They're trying to, how is this going to affect Japan? They're just negatively affecting their country more. So many people are losing jobs because of these people. They're protesting against their own people, like people who are working in Japanese restaurants and stuff. They're being incredibly aggressive towards Japanese tourists, and these tourists are just like young people in their like teens or 20s who really like Korea. How is that? How do they deserve any of this? And honestly, like a lot of the stuff that did happen in the past, it's horrible, but it happened like maybe 3 or 4 generations ago. And I'm not saying we should forget about it, but you can't blame this on the young people in Japan. They had nothing to do with it. And even if some of them are not aware of what happened, they are not the people who did this. You can't like go up to them in the street when they're traveling in your country and blame them. They shouldn't have to deal with this while they're traveling. It's so disgusting that people are doing this to them. And like honestly, like the main problem with this situation is mostly related to the government in Japan and the government in Korea, and a lot of it is to do with the president of Japan. And honestly, I think the boycott should be related to the government. It shouldn't be related to the whole country, because that just makes it so much more racist, and it makes it just about everyone when not everyone is to do with this. Well, I don't get how, you know, Uniqlo shutting down in Korea is going to affect the president or the government in Japan. It's not going to create enough. It's just not going to create enough difference to like actually, like it's going to create more negative consequences in Korea rather than having more positive effects that they're, you know, more of the positive effects that they're looking for. I don't get how any of this stuff is going to make much of a difference. I think it's honestly all about Korean pride, and it's all about their emotion and how they feel, and it's honestly really childish. I don't think this is the way. I understand their sentiment, I understand why they're doing this. I just don't think this is the right solution. I don't think this is going to create the change that they're looking for. I think they should have really thought this through a lot more and came up with a different solution, because I don't see any part of this helping the situation. So far, it's created much more negative impact on Korea, and I don't think that's what they want, but they're kind of like blinded by their own bias. When they see a Uniqlo close down, they celebrate and they feel like they've had a small victory, but they're not seeing that there's people losing their jobs. They're not seeing that it's negatively affecting the economy. They're just looking at what they want to see, which is a Japanese owned brand is closing down in Korea. How is that going to affect the opinion of the government in Japan? It's probably just gonna make them worse. And honestly, like, as far as I know, Japan is also having a similar thing happening. From what I heard, they're gonna stop trading, or like they're not whitelisting. They removed Korea from the whitelist of trade in Japan, something like that. And this sort of stuff happening between the two countries is not gonna help anything. Both countries really need to calm down and just like stop being so emotional and be a lot more rational about this. It is deeper than that. And you know, as a foreigner to both countries, my opinion is very small, and it doesn't matter to most of the people. But as someone who is watching out from outside and isn't biased to either country, I'm very disappointed in both countries in the way they're reacting to this situation. But yeah, I'm not the most informed person on this topic, but it's just too much. And this is why I really don't like to get into politics, but this is this is something that I can't really avoid, and it's not even my own country. Neither of them are my country, and I just really don't like to see this. But what I do hope is that this situation between the two countries really starts to like fizzle out a little bit. I don't think it is, because I feel like there's gonna be a rally happening sometime this month. I don't remember the date, but from all those signs I saw that there's gonna be a rally, and I'm pretty sure there will be one in Japan too. I hope that like something can happen between the two governments. As far as I know, it is related to the president of both countries. It's more so them than the countries themselves, but there are a large amount of people backing both sides, and I don't think it's really a good idea for the people to get so involved like this, because it's, as I've been talking about, like it's having so much negative effects on the country, and I'm sure Japan is probably going to be following like what's happening with Korea, but I feel like Korea has a lot more to lose than Japan does. Yeah, I really hope that the situation can be resolved. I'm not sure how it can be resolved. I'm not very good when it comes to politics. I just really hope that something positive can come from this, because damage has already been done. I'm not sure what the solution can be. This is just a very tricky situation, and I'm not a citizen of either country. But I really hope that something good can come from this, and that some positive change can happen from this. And I hope there can be an understanding between the two countries again. I'm not sure when it will happen, but I just hope that it will happen at some point. Thank you so much for watching this rant. It's a bit, it's not what I usually do, but thank you so much for watching anyway. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.